There is something in the air in Hollywood. No, it isn't the scent of glamour, but the cold, horrible stench of death. From Peg Entwistle jumping from the H of the old Hollywoodland sign to Hartman jumping from the ninth floor balcony of her apartment building in Los Angeles, these are the vintage beauties who jumped themselves to death. Elizabeth Hartman. Quote, "I'm truly sorry to those whom I love and who love me. Please forgive me. I can no longer continue hurting myself and everyone around me." Unquote. Elizabeth Hartman said in one of her deepest and most heartbreaking periods in Hollywood history. Elizabeth Hartman was born on December 23, 1943 in Youngstown, Ohio, U.S., to a construction worker, B.C. Hartman, and her mother, Claire. Hartman wasn't born into a family of entertainers, but she had a powerful talent. She stood out as a drama student in her school, Boardman High School. Later, she won the award for the Best Actress in High School Production in the state. The actress won the award for her performance as Laura in The Glass Menagerie. With those honors, Elizabeth had tasted glory and she was hooked. She began to perform at Youngstown Playhouse before going to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. At the university, she met Gil Dennis, her future husband. Elizabeth was sure of her path and did everything she could to prepare. The actress auditioned for stage roles, but she would be more than a stage actress. In 1964, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Warner Brothers screen-tested the actress, and she performed beyond expectations. From being an obscure actress, Hartman got the lead role in the movie A Patch of Blue, where she acted alongside Sidney Poitier and Shelley Winters. Her performance was magical, and it made her a national sensation. She was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. At the time of her nomination, the actress was 23 years old, which made her the youngest nominee for the award at the time. While she missed out on the Oscars, she won a couple of awards like the National Association of Theater Owners and the Golden Globe. The actress would go on to act in other iconic movies. She starred in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Fox and the Hound. Hartman was a star, but she wasn't twinkling. Within her, she carried an unimaginable turmoil that grew with each passing day. Her troubles would eventually make the actress lose something she loved. Depression caused Hartman's turmoil, and she had been dealing with it for much of her life. Fortunately, she got help and became a patient of the Institute of Living in Hartford, Connecticut. Unfortunately, the depression had gotten so strong that it interfered with the actress's marriage. Elizabeth separated from her husband before eventually divorcing him 5 years later. Her condition got even worse, and Elizabeth decided to quit acting. She picked up a job at a museum and continued to treat herself then. But she couldn't stay away. She returned to acting, and then she did it. Elizabeth overdosed on sleeping pills. Her sister discovered what she'd done and rushed her to the hospital. The elegant actress survived and didn't even stay at the hospital to rest. The show must go on, and Elizabeth was on the stage the next night playing Myrtle Brown in a stage production of Mornings at 7. Do you think her sister could have done more to help her rest? Eventually, it got too much for the actress, and she called her psychiatrist on the morning of June 10, 1987, to tell him that she felt despondent. It didn't look like her psychiatrist had a solution, but Elizabeth found one. Looking outside her fifth-floor apartment on June 10, 1987, Hartman jumped and landed on the floor, snuffing out her life. Chelsea Christ. Chelsea Christ became everything she wanted to be, and part of her inspiration came from her mother, a former Miss North Carolina. Like her mom, Christ also took part in pageantry. In her high school, Northwestern High School in Rock Hill, South Carolina, she won Miss Freshman. Christ had bigger things in mind. She went to the University of South Carolina, where she studied marketing and human resource management. Christ wasn't satisfied, and she proceeded to law school. She graduated in 2017 and began to practice as an attorney. Still, Christ had retained her ambition in pageantry, and in 2016, she entered in Miss North Carolina USA 2017. She didn't win that time, but kept trying until she did. Despite her pageant work, she continued as an attorney and even created a fashion blog to help women to dress more professionally. Christ could do anything she set her mind to, but her mind wasn't the healthiest place. After winning Miss North Carolina USA 2019, the model competed in Miss USA 2019 as North Carolina's representative. Christ won and got to represent USA in Miss Universe 2019, but she didn't win. However, she was among the top 10 contestants and everything was going great for her. She even hosted a TV program in 2019. It really was her year. The actress's mental health was still poor, and what she had achieved didn't seem to help. The actress hid away her depression from people, but her mother knew. On January 30th, 2021, she jumped from her apartment in the 60-story high-rise apartment named the Orion and landed to her death. Would things possibly have been different if more people knew what she was going through? Peggy Entwistle. You know that Hollywood sign wasn't always like that. Before 1949, it was formerly Hollywoodland, and when it was constructed in 1924, it had 4,000 light bulbs that would flash in the night. The sign was supposed to be a symbol of a growing era, but it became so much more. It became the herald of a brutal death and a logo of something seriously wrong with the movie industry. But what did people care? They were getting entertained with both films and from gossip that they got about their favorite stars. At the time, the top studios, 20th Century Fox, RKO Pictures, Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, they controlled PR to the extent that they determined the direct public opinion of Hollywood and what they should follow. Despite the craziness of everything, Hollywood remained glamorous and more beauties wanted to join. They wanted to be like the incredibly successful Marlene Dietrich. Peg Entwistle bought into the Hollywood glamour, and honestly, if we show you her story, you wouldn't blame her. Peg needed an escape, and Hollywood was the perfect one. She was born on February 5, 1908 in Wales, and her parents divorced when she was 2. However, some reports claim that her mother died. She and her father moved to America in 1912, and he got work as a theater stage manager. He then remarried and had 2 sons with his new wife. Then, tragedy struck as it seemed. Her father's second wife died in 1921. As the family dealt with grief from her losing her, an accident happened. In 1922, a car struck Peg's dad on Park Avenue and East 72nd Street, and he died. Peg was left without parents and had 2 young brothers to look out for. Her uncle Harold took them in, and Peg began to look for her escape. She was determined to become a Broadway star, and according to reports, she had the talent for it. She even inspired Betty Davis. After appearing in several Broadway shows in 1925, the New York Theater Guild admitted her as a member. Things looked bright for Peg. Then she got married in 1927 when she was 19, and it turned out to be a terrible decision. Her husband was a fellow actor, and he lied to her. Robert had previously married and had a son. Suddenly, Peg became a mother, and she wasn't ready to be one. Her marriage fractured, and she divorced her husband in 1929. The actress was ready to focus on her Broadway career, but the Great Depression destroyed the chances she had to do so. Peg couldn't land a job, so she thought of the next best thing: Hollywood. Peg moved to Los Angeles in 1931 to become a movie star. She went on to live with another uncle, and what she met wasn't what she had expected. Hollywood was vicious. The competition was high, and despite having acting experience, Peg didn't stand out. Finally, she was in luck. She got a part in the thriller 13 Women, but unfortunately the studio cut out much of her part from the film as if this wasn't enough. The studio that hired her, RKO, terminated her contract. Peg was without a job and didn't have any money, so on September 16, 1932, the actress left her uncle's home, saying she wanted to meet some friends at a drugstore. Peg would not come home that night. The next time her uncle would see Peg, she was dead. She had climbed up the H of the old Hollywoodland sign and jumped to her death. A hiker saw her body and called the police before her uncle came to identify her. Peg left a note that said, quote, "I am afraid. I am a coward. I am sorry for everything. If I had done this a long time ago, it would have saved a lot of pain. P.E." Unquote. Peg died a violent death. and it is said that her ghost still haunts the sign till this day. Tourist, beware. Capucine. Hollywood doomed Capucine, and we'll show you how. The French actress and model was the epitome of elegance and began her life in both her career paths by accident. In 1945, the 17-year-old Capucine was riding a carriage when a commercial photographer saw her and believed she would be a great model. He was right. The sexy model and actress would go on to work with Givenchy and Christian Dior. Capucine gained so much popularity that even filmmakers wanted her to be in their films. She appeared in a few films in France, but none gave her a big hit. Then, in 1957, everything changed. Her movie success came, and so did her destruction. Hollywood producer Charles K. Feldman saw Capucine when she was modeling in New York City. He knew he had struck gold. Feldman saw a princess, a woman of unmatched elegance who was certain to improve a movie's chance of becoming box office gold. Feldman quickly put her on a $150 a week salary and began to have her learn English and study acting under Gregory Ratoff. The producer said, quote, "You can teach a girl to act, but nobody can teach her how to look like a princess. You've got to start with a girl who looks like a princess," unquote. In 1958, the sexy, elegant Capucine got a 7-year contract with Columbia Pictures, but her first audition was a complete bust. She wasn't one to give up. Feldman wouldn't even let her if she tried. She had the it. Eventually, the actress got her first English-speaking role in Song Without End, and whew, her performance was so engaging that it earned her a Golden Globe nomination. The actress began to fly high, working with big names in Hollywood, and fell in love with one of them. When she worked with William Holden in The Lion, they began a romantic relationship. The sexy star then moved to Switzerland, but she continued to work in Hollywood. She got cast in Pink Panther and What's New Pussycat. These two films would become two of her most notable roles. Capucine seemed to remain permanently at the top, but she suffered a setback. Feldman died, and her career went along with him. From being seen as a princess, she became a horse. Quote, "She has a horrible voice and too many teeth. She looks like a horse. A beautiful horse, I know that. I was a trainer. I know all about horses, but I don't want a horse," unquote. Ouch. The actress still continued to find work both in America and in Europe and seemed normal. So when she jumped to her death from her 8th-floor apartment in Lausanne-Vaud, Switzerland, it shocked people. Official reports claimed the actress was sick and depressed and spent most of her time alone with her cats. According to those reports, her elegance was for the public, and who she truly was an aloof woman. Her family refused. They said that the actress was in great spirits before her death. Could it be that the actress's family didn't know her at all? Hollywood reeks of death, each one more violent than the last. Do you think suicide will become a thing of the past in the industry, or are we doomed to carry around the fear of the sudden deaths of our favorite beauties? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe.